Menya ebirayiro byawe.
Nge chiki.
Manya ebiragiro byawe.
Manya amateeka gawe.
Nge chiki.
Emioni aziteminidi.
Jua sheria yako.
Manya amateeka go.
Manya mateka kao.
Know Your Law every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Know Your Law program. This is Alex Wandeva, and in this edition, as you are aware, Uganda will be joining the rest of the world to commemorate the International Women's Day, which falls on the 8th of March every year. And in this edition, we are going to look at the factors that hamper women emancipation. And one of those in this country and the other neighboring countries is female genital mutilation. So we are going to look at what has been done to end female genital mutilation and to what extent has this affected women in the places that it is practiced. Good listening. I am going to speak to a number of people in this program, but I am with the Director General Rich Program, that is Beatrice Chelengat, an activist against female genital mutilation. And she is going to explain to us what they have done to end female genital mutilation, but also to what extent has this vice affected women in the areas that the vice is practiced.
It is all about saying no to female genital mutilation. Yes. And in addition to female genital mutilation, GBV, gender-based violence, is eating up our people. It is eating up our families. Marriages are breaking due to domestic violence. So FGM and GBV go hand in hand. And in addition to FGM being part of GBV, we try to separate it to give it prominence. But all is SGBV as a collective term to take care of all those things which go hand in hand with the sexual-based violence.
Okay. So which communities were you targeting? What was the audience that you targeted?
Yeah, the REACH program did a baseline survey last year with support from UNRWA, funded by Africa Development Bank. The purpose of this survey was to know what is it that is causing FGM to continue despite the law, despite the continuous sensitization, despite the many partners on ground campaigning against female genital mutilation. And we came up, the baseline survey team came up with a number of issues which were reported by the community. Number one, the community need a consistent, unique message that is acceptable by the community and the community themselves can carry on. And that's why the whole of this week and the previous weeks, we've been having sessions with the young people. And finally this week, we are engaging the students at school and children in primary school. And we've reached out. And from our experience, much as most of the young people we met are not cut, but still they believe FGM is our culture. We cannot let it go. And in every meeting we attended, in every meeting that we reached out to, you find students asking, but why are you campaigning against female genital mutilation? Surprisingly, nobody questions why we are campaigning against GBV. But with the FGM, why are you campaigning against it? So the sense of owning FGM is still very high in the hearts of men and women, in the hearts of children and young people. So what does that? That's a signal that we still have a lot more to do, because changing attitude, changing the mindset of our people is still an issue.
So that is why the practice has persisted in the region.
Even if the real cutting is not taking place, but the mindset to support FGM is still high among our people.
The listeners will always want to know what are the harmful results or effects of FGM.
Okay, to know how harmful it is, we first need to know what is FGM. FGM is female genital mutilation among the Sabine women.
So how dangerous is that to a woman?
Given that we've left it as a permanent scar, it means in the future, her reproductive health life will be affected. Right from just having intercourse with the husband, and later as she tries to deliver a child, that scar cannot be as elastic as the natural woman's genitalia. Yeah, the scar makes it frigid, and therefore delaying the birth of a child. And that means contributing to maternal death due to delayed labor and leading to infant mortality due to delayed labor. And on top of that, the cutting is done by very old women. And at times when they tamper with some important veins there, it leads to paralysis. And then the shock that the woman goes through as she's being cut, most women describe it as it is like a power saw cutting of her genitals. That brings torture, and at times shock, which can lead to death, and at times trauma that will make her not okay in the brain forever. Not forgetting that the area that is cut is highly supplied with blood, and the overbleeding also can lead to death if there is no remedy.
Okay, and you talked about the traditional surgeons. How have you been engaging them in seeing that they end the practice, they stop cutting the women?
Yeah, the engagement of the traditional cutters or surgeons is an area that we've not fully done a lot. But as REACH program, we've been trying to bring those women on board and engage them as change agents in our community. Yeah, during our meetings, we bring them up to testify how the cutting takes place actually. They can easily describe to you how they do the cutting. Yeah, so their engagement in the campaign is very important. The only challenge we have as people on the ground is many times we are driven by what donors can offer. So you end up planning according to the mandate of the donor. So you find that some donors are not interested. They feel these are already culprits and therefore should not be brought on board. But as a cultural activist also here, we believe these women had a status in the community, and therefore we keep on engaging them in the campaign against female genital mutilation. And as an activist, I believe bringing them together, empowering them economically on top of the social aspect can go a long way in silencing their desires to continue cutting. Let's give them alternatives. What can make them be powerful in the community? Let them speak in the radio. Let them speak in the community meetings. Let them be empowered economically so that they know they matter. Yes.
Did the government promise to give them incentives to divert their minds from FGM ever materialize?
Yeah, it is true. The office of the Prime Minister was assigned by the President to look into the issue of the FGM practitioners, because they are not only those who cut, but they are those who mentor, and they are those who are personal assistants to the cutters. The Prime Minister's office came here sometime in 2010, came in 2011, and promised the women, we are coming with the money and to support you. Up to today, we've not got a feedback. It's only recently that UNRWA, through with the funding from Africa Development Bank, came up with a beekeeping project. But not everybody can keep bees at the age of 60, 70. If you've never kept bees, it is very difficult to begin practicing at that age. Yeah, so the few who are able, they are busy keeping bees at the cliff sides and on the river valleys. That activity is taking on, but most of these cutters still felt they needed an economic activity that's not so demanding, given that most of them are getting old.
Lastly, generally speaking, what do you look at as some of the hindrances and limitations towards your work?
Yeah, the key limitation is people who know the truth that FGM is illegal, FGM is harmful. They do not practice it on their children, but they keep on being the campaign managers for let FGM continue. It hurts a lot. When you cannot practice FGM on your own child, then you keep promoting FGM in the villages. When your children are at school, getting degrees, and you are celebrating their graduation ceremonies. Yet in the village you are telling somebody, people, FGM is our culture. Let girls undergo FGM and let them get married so that we get dowry. I look at it as a big obstacle. And then the other obstacle is funding. Yeah, we did an assessment of all the implementing partners in the FGM, anti-FGM campaign. And we discovered that much of the funding comes when it is too late to prepare the mindset of our girls and parents to stop female genital mutilation. If the cutting season is from October to December, do not give us the money in October. Let the money come right from January. We walk the talk so that by October the mindset is changed. But where money comes when the cutters are already ready, it becomes a problem. Then the other obstacle I see in the campaign is the people we are dealing with are poor. When you call them for a meeting, even when you give them lunch and all that, you read poverty all around. So economic empowerment of the woman is key in achieving change. Yeah, because we have taboos. If a woman is economically empowered, the mother-in-law cannot harass her to climb a granary. A mother-in-law cannot harass her to stop picking cow dung for smearing the house. The mother-in-law cannot harass her even during delivery, because an empowered woman will go early enough to the hospital and deliver in the hands of a what? Of a doctor and a midwife. But the state that most of our people in the villages are is really wanting.
Thank you, Madam Beatrice. Maybe anything else that you think we have not tackled in this interview that you want to pass on to the people who are listening?
Yeah, the other thing that I still call on the government to do is to address the issue of infrastructure. We are very happy for the construction of the tarmac road to the border, but the feeder roads are in a state that you cannot go far. You need a heavy-duty car. You need a well-trained driver to reach these hard-to-reach areas. Yesterday we were supposed to be at Kortek Primary School, but because of the state of the road, we had to cancel the activity because our vehicle cannot manage the mud, and we had to alternatively go to Kabei Primary School, which was not in our plan. So I call upon government to do more on the feeder roads so that the person who is deep in the village is reached with the message, stop female genital mutilation. I'm happy We are running a community radio in Bukwa, and at least is reaching, but still, because of the topography, not everybody is reached. The radio needs to be what? Powered more, so that the deep valleys and the cliff sides can be reached by the radio. Yeah.
That is Madame Beatrice Chelengat. She is an anti-FGM activist, and she also heads the community-based organization here called REACH, in which she is the Director General. And thank you very much for being part of UBC.
Thank you too for interviewing us, and I thank UBC for giving attention to the issue of FGM and GBV in the Sabine region.
You're welcome.
Come again.
Okay. So, first of all, sir, your name and what has been the role as police, especially in this Bukwa region, to see that female genital mutilation is brought to the end?
So, I'm called Kiblanga Bennett. I'm the acting community liaison officer Bukwa. We have been going out the community policing, sensitizing the community over the issue of female genital mutilation. We have been going to the community discussing over the issue that when you continue cutting this child of female genital mutilation, you will get some complications. One of the complications is when your daughter is the one that's to deliver, it may become a problem when the delivery. So we have been telling them that even the girl child, after he has gone for female genital mutilation, it loses weight. It loses weight in the community. You know, this community of ours here, they don't want girls who have been circumcised. So we have been telling them that don't commit those offenses, because the law is already there, that stop cutting female genital mutilation, stop cutting these girls anymore. That is all.
What about the traditional surgeons that circumcise these children? Are they living this practice?
Surely, some of these surgeons who practice cutting these girls, they have so far left cutting these girls. But some of these surgeons, most of them, they are from Kenya, and we have even tried to arrest some of them. But as by now in our district, we have no surgeons so far.
Yes. Why do you think they have stopped?
They have even stopped because we have told them, we have also arrested them. Some of them we have even taken to court, and they have known that when we continue, the law will act on them.
And the government also promised them some help. Has it ever reached them, most of them?
Some of the government have reached to them. They have even talked to them. Some of them they have helped these surgeons.
So, lastly, what do you think some of the issues that also limit your work, that you find that they make your work difficult to reach some places?
Things which makes us to reach some places, especially our Bukwa here, the place is somewhat hilly, but we lack transport. One of the main issues is we lack transport, but we have been using motorcycles, but when it rains, no movement of the motorcycles can move on these hills. Those are one of the challenges we faced.
Thank you very much, sir. Your name again?
I'm called Kiplangat Bernard, acting community liaison officer, Bukwa district.
And you are still listening to Know Your Law program. This is Alex Wandeva, and in this edition we are and you are still listening to Know Your Law program. This is Alex Wandeva, and this evening we are looking at female genital mutilation ahead of the International Women's Day. How has this affected women emancipation? This is the time when we take our break, and when we return, we are going to continue looking at the negative effects of female genital mutilation.
As Uganda works towards Vision 2040, UBC Radio is dedicated to the development of Uganda. Join us every day for transformative programs in English, Swahili, and Luo. This is UBC Radio.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
At UBC Radio, all our radio network across the country is committed to inform, entertain, educate and guide for national transformation.
Our own radio, UBC, should set its own example. Leka bano abatafa ku bantu baffe bagumaza ndowooza muganda hito kugumaza to divert people. Let our own UBC bring programs to educate the people so that abagala kugumaza babereyo bagumaza naye naffe they can advise, guide. And people in time will judge the one who is their friend and who is just using them.
Tune into UBC radios for credible socio-economic programs. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
This is UBC Radio, the home of inspiration.
So welcome to UBC, and I am in Kapchorwa district, and of course we are following up issues concerning female genital mutilation that has been rampant in this place over the years. But now I have Dr. Yeko Arapkisa. He is an expert in these matters, and let me welcome him to the program. And first of all, Doctor, when somebody talks about female genital mutilation, what's this condition?
Yes, I'm Dr. Yeko John Arapkisa. I'm a trained medical officer. I also, when I went for my master's in Leeds University, I did my thesis on the role of the hospital in managing FGM cases. Well, FGM is a female genital mutilation. It is the cutting of the female external genitalia for no medical reasons. In other words, people just cut the external genitalia of the woman or the girl for no medical reasons. It is not justified on any medical reasons. Of course, it is a cultural practice which is practiced in Uganda, mainly in the Sebei region, that is Kapchorwa, Kwen and Bukwa districts. It is also practiced by the Inamdat, where you have the Pokot, and some 2 or 3 ethnic groups in Karamoja. So it is the cutting of the female external genitalia for no medical reasons. Okay. At times we cut the external genitalia for medical reasons, like an abscess on the vulva. That's a medical reason. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we are looking at this practice, but again, it has persisted in the region. Why do you think?
Yeah, of course, it has persisted. As you said, it's a cultural practice. there are various reasons which people give for cutting the girls or the women. Things like that is to create to improve the cleanliness of the external genitalia. The others just for the practice that since our grandmothers were cut, the practice should continue under the theme of maintaining the culture. Other conditions are that if the woman is cut, then she will easily get married and they pay high dowry. Those are unscientific reasons. Otherwise, generally, across the whole world, not is practiced in about 30 countries. The main reason why women are circumcised is that first, you are preserving the morals of the woman, and then two, you are reducing the sexual enjoyment of the women. So it is actually an oppression of women by men.
So medically then, what are the effects of that might result out of this female genital mutilation?
Well, there are medical conditions like immediate ones, the pain, the bleeding, infections later, immediate also, and can be later, urinary tract infections. The woman may go into shock because of excessive bleeding. Then there are long-term complications, like when the woman is cut, the external genitalia is elastic. That's why it can allow a head of a baby to pass through. But when you do extensive surgery on the woman, on genital parts, you create a big scar. The big scar, when you get a big wound, when the big wound heals, it creates a big scar. And that scar is rigid. So it can delay labor from happening successful and fast. Then later, the complications like intrabirth, that is a baby dying at birth, and then other complications are the tissues are surrounding the vaginal wall. That is next to the vaginal wall, anteriorly the urinary bladder, posteriorly the rectum. You can get holes created, abnormal holes. So there will be leakage of urine, leakage of feces. This is what we call a fistula. Fistulae are abnormal openings adjacent, resulting from pressure on the tissues surrounding the vaginal canal. That is anteriorly, you have the urinary bladder. Posteriorly, you have the rectum. Those are some of the long-term complications because of obstructed labor, prolonged obstructed labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Doctor, also, what do you think can be the solutions to FGM, both medically and maybe as a community?
Well, we did even pass a law. I was in Parliament even at that time, 2010, trying to make FGM illegal. But that one has not wiped out FGM. What is now happening is that people go and circumcise underground. Previously, there will be a lot of merry-making towards the process of circumcision. But now you don't see any girls dancing around. So actually, the law does not work, has not worked. So the solution is actually to sensitize the public on the problems surrounding FGM. Otherwise, trying to terrify or tell these people that you have things like bleeding, excessive bleeding, things like pain, those ones, people will not accept that. Because someone says, okay, if it is pain, I'm going to tolerate it, so why are you bothered? So it is the main reason, and why it is still going on is that because there are those people in society who still insist that the FGM should continue.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Also, government tried to allocate incentives to the traditional surgeons to divert their mind from continuing with the practice of circumcising women. Has this ever come to reality?
At one time it was tried, but not extensively. And then related to that, so it was tried but not sustained. So those incentives was given once, but not for a long time.
So as an approach, it has not helped much at all?
It hasn't helped much. On the other hand, we circumcise majorly on even years. That's almost after every 2 years. So in between the 2 years, these circumcisers, local circumcisers, they have another way of living. And we usually circumcise only in the month of December. So they have something like 23 months to survive on their own. Because whatever, they may get lump sum at the time of circumcision, that one may be consumed in the next 2 months. So these surgeons have other ways of, like another peasant of surviving. So that issue of incentives is not a major.
It's not what they are relying on.
It is not what they are relying on. They can rely on it during the circumcision period. But that lump sum money will get finished like any other body.
So, do you think the government ever fulfilled this pledge of incentives? Was it regular?
As I had said earlier, it was tried at the beginning, but not in everybody, and then they ceased. So there's no regular program from government, in my view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps lastly, Doctor, also, we have talked about many solutions that can be employed to address this matter, but all in all, what do you think are the hindrances or limitations to all of these solutions to the problem?
The major hindrance is that belief of the society that this is our culture, should not be interfered with. And if you try to abandon it, you become an outcast in your own community. You will get no respect, and so on. So it is mainly the mindset that is the hindrance. And as I said, talking to people about complications which come is not that creates no impact to the practicing community.
I understand also, like you said, it's not done openly these days. It's done in the bush, and the issue of going across the border. Do you think that is those are also part of?
Yeah, I've heard of, though I've not experienced. We also have practice. In fact, in Kenya there are many tribes who practice female genital mutilation. Being a border district with us, it is easier for people to go and take it there. Then they come back when they have already taken the FGM. The borders are very porous. There is no security guarding at every point on the border.
Yeah, Dr. Lastly, also, what would be your appeal as a medical doctor and a person who hails from this region?
My appeal, as I said, is should go down to the people and talk to them, intensify the mobilization. And then there's one thing I've always thought about it. There's a relationship of those who are circumcised, and they form a group. So it is, and if you are not, we also circumcise men or boys. So if a boy is circumcised, his age group who are circumcised at the same site or same year, that Yakila covers a period of about 6 years, what we call Punda here. So those people have their own organization. So if one of their groups, his wife is not circumcised, that wife does not join the other group of the circumcised club. In my view, that's what we call the group called Pasuben. In my view, that one is the one which creates a lot of impact in the society. If you are not in that group of Pasuben, then you are really an outcast. So you'll get families even who have kept their daughters from getting circumcised. But she will get married to a hostile community in another parish. After your daughter has been married, she has produced 2 children or 3. One morning you see her coming with a team, with the whistles,
running around.
Coming back home, Daddy, I must take this thing. You have kept your daughter, she has been educated, she's now a primary teacher. One morning you see her coming with those escorting her. And that is very common because of the other relationship of the people whom you are circumcised with. So she becomes outcast from that family. If there's any function related to circumcision, that wife of yours will not go there. You the husband, you have to borrow someone's wife to go and attend the function together with the others who are in that club. So in my view, that one is a very driving moment, that you are married to an uncircumcised woman, so the woman cannot perform activities of a Pasuben in the same village. You can't even fetch water when the others are lining up. You can't climb a granary to remove foodstuffs. You can't go to someone's kraal and scoop out the cow dung, because we use cow dung here for smearing the floor. Then plus the other functions, that the woman cannot appear in that club of people when there is a circumcision ceremony and after ceremonies, after circumcision. In my view, that one is the one which really hits the woman. Until she's forced to go back to where her parents are, she gets circumcised, then comes back to join there as well. Now she can enjoy the benefits of the club of those who are circumcised at about the same time.
What about the anti-FGM law, Doctor?
We did pass it. It has been there for about now 12 years. What the FGM lawyer has done is only it has driven the practice underground. There have been arrests of people supporting FGM. They are taken to they are convicted in the court. They are taken to prison. After about 3-4 years, when they are still serving, then they put pressure on the president. Whenever he visits and those women are in the cells, they say, President, you assist us and release these women. And I'm aware of at least 2 times they have pleaded with the president. Then that one gives a directive after a lot of pressure. You release them. Then people celebrate now. So that one is also another one which discourages those who are opposed to FGM. They say, you accept, you will be arrested, fined, you will be taken to court, but we shall plead with the president and they release you. It undermines the courts. Yeah.
Okay. That is Dr. John Arapkisa Yeko, and he has been speaking to me here in Kapchorwa district on issues concerning female genital mutilation as an expert, a trained doctor in the same field. And Dr. Yeko was once MP in Parliament. Which Parliament was that, Doctor?
Well, I've been successfully elected into 3 parliaments. 1989 NRC. I was again elected in 2001. That is the 6th parliament. No, 5th parliament. I was there. That's NRC. 2001 to 2006. That is the 7th parliament. Then 2006 to 2011. That is the 8th parliament. So I've been in parliament for three terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I know from the time you left the Parliament, you follow developments in Parliament. How would you compare the Parliament now and your time?
Well, the Parliament at that time, we were able to speak your mind. Can stand up and speak your mind. But the current one now is under multi-party system. The caucus decides on what to say in Parliament, and then they get a spokesperson. You others cannot debate with a free mind. It is the spokesperson of the party which comes and speaks. So actually the present parliaments, they have gagged them. They cannot debate freely on their minds. That's the big difference, you know.
And also, during your time in Parliament, we saw a lot of professionals than today. And the debates do not flow as it was during your time. Have you observed this?
I've not been following closely, but for my part, I attribute my election to Parliament in 1989 to the hard work I did in the community. Because for many years I was the only doctor in the whole of Survey region, which has now been divided into 3, Kapchorwa, Kwen and Buku. So I was from Kwen, so I was elected because of my competence as a doctor in the only hospital in the whole of that region.
So, and you have never thought of making any comeback at all?
I tried in 2011, I failed. I tried again in 2016, I failed. So I've never attempted again.
So what, perhaps to ask you personally, you are back in Kapchorwa. What are you doing for yourself and the community?
Of course, I retired from Parliament and then from government service when I was elected to Parliament as by the law. So since 2001, I retired, mainly because I became an MP. So currently I'm doing some private practice in my, this is a private clinic. And then I also do some farming, little, not on a big scale.
Okay.
That's why I'm surviving.
So when you walk around the Kapchorwa town, what do people say when they see you around? What do they think of you, and do they recognize you?
Yes, they recognize me. In fact, they hold me high. Yes. They are not saying, look at that one. Because many still anyway come to my clinic. So I have that respect from them. Then for about 3 years, I'm a member of the District Service Commission. So when they want their children to be absorbed into government service, they come and they ask me to support them. So I still have some respect in the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor, which constituency are you representing?
I represent Kwen County constituency, which has now turned into Kwen district. Yeah. Yeah.
So, lastly, what did you do for the people that even when you walk around yourself, you can hold your shoulder high?
Incidentally, if you get time and go to Kwen, most of the developmental projects which have been carried out were done in the time I was in Parliament. We have secondary schools like Kapkoch Secondary School, Yamanga Secondary School, Kwasir Girls School, those are Warus Secondary School, Kapkwata, were all developed during the time I was in. Then one of the bigger ones is the Kwen district was created when I was in Parliament. Many of the health centers which are there, people know that it was during Dr. Yokot's time that all these things were developed to the extent they are now. The issue of the road, it has started on, but we have been all the time we were in Parliament, we are trying to press for it. Though the recent MPs, they came and the construction started at their time, so they all want to take credit. But it's like someone marries a woman who is pregnant 7 months. After 3 months, the woman delivers. Then he's proud that that's my pregnancy. No, they came when the processes had gone. They were not matured when they were in now.
Okay. Doctor, I have to thank you very much for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Know Your Law program, in which we looked at how FGM has affected women emancipation, most especially in the areas where the vice is being practiced. This is Alex Wandeva, and do not forget to join us again next Monday when we return with a similar edition. Happy Women's Day.
Menya ebirayiro byawe.
Nge chiki.
Manya ebiragiro byawe.
Manya amateeka gawe.
Nge chiki.
Emyoni azita eminidi.
Jua sheria yako.
Manya amateeka go.
Manya mateeka kawo.
Know Your Law every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. on UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.